Okay, I begin in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. All praise be to God, to whom belongs all the things in heaven and on earth. To him be praised in the hereafter. He is full of wisdom, all aware. Let me begin with posing a question to all of you. Are you a black box thinker? Now, I don't mean thinking out of the box if you are thinking that way. Presumably, you are not. Then, inshallah, by end of this lecture, you may revolutionize how you think about success. When the aircraft crashes, there are three teams of experts rushing to the scene. There is the fire brigade, there is the medical team, and there are investigators from the aviation company. And the investigators are rushing to get the black box as fast as they can. Now, this black box really is not black. It's, it's orange in color. And there are two black boxes. There's one in the front, which records all the conversation between the crew and the air traffic. And the other black box is at the other tail at the end of the aircraft, which records all electronic system failures. So now let me present to you two case studies which will give you in-depth insight into the phenomenon of black box thinking. So two industries are chosen, aviation industry and healthcare industry, because these two industries are very critical. A small mistake can kill a person. So a United Airlines flight 173 with 180 passengers left JFK Airport to go to Portland in Oregon. When the pilot had arrived at the airport in Portland, he pulled the lever down to get the to lower the landing gear. So he heard a noise, and normally the green light shows up on the dashboard, on the dashboard, which didn't show up. So he became suspicious that the landing gear is not down. So he sent his engineer at the back of the aircraft, at the wings, to check if the bolts are up. Because when the landing gear goes down, the bolts come up. While he was doing that, he radioed this control tower. He radioed this control tower to say that he needs some time to troubleshoot because his landing gear is not out. When the engineer went to the cabin at the back of the aircraft, the pilot also called San Francisco Maintenance Center of United Airlines. And they informed the pilot that if the landing gear is not out, it has been statistically proved that the plane can land on its belly with no or less fatalities, although it is slightly dangerous. But the captain was still worried why the green light has not come up. While he was troubleshooting, a 90-ton aircraft was already circling the airport. The fuel was already dropping because, as we know, when the aircraft leaves one destination to go to the other destination, they carry sufficient fuel just to last them with their trip. So the co-pilot warned the pilot that we are very low on fuel. And the pilot realized because the plane came down to 3,000 feet. So he had no choice. He found a nearby field and the plane landed in the field. When it landed on the field, it was realized that the landing gear was actually down. 11 passengers died. The pilot survived. So when the investigators looked at the black box, they found out what was the issue. The pilot had not taken the decision and he was all the time very doubtful of not landing at the airport because the landing gear was down apparently. When they interviewed the pilot said that the fuel must have run out, the tanks must be leaking. But because of the black box, the investigators told the pilot the tanks were not leaking, but there was a leak in the sense of your timing. So let me give you another case now. It's a medical case in the healthcare industry. Elaine Bromley, a 37-year-old with two kids, 8 years and 10 years, suffered a sinus problem. So she went to her ENT specialist who advised her that it's a minor operation. It will take only 15 minutes and gave her an appointment to come one morning at 8:30, which she did. Her husband dropped her with two kids. They said goodbye to her, and they told her that we are picking up flowers and some chocolate. So when you come home, we'll have a little celebration after your operation. And they went home. Elaine was wheeled to the theater where the anesthetist administered anesthetic directly to her bloodstream. It disabled her body, as we know, and the vital functions are also disabled. Even the breathing is assisted. So there was a device called laryngeal mask, which they put to allow the airway into her. So the anesthetist couldn't put the mask into Elaine's mouth while he was trying to do that because the jaw muscles had tightened. Now remember, she's already in anesthetics. So he tried to administer additional drug to loosen the muscles, but he couldn't do it. At this time, the head nurse realized that there may be a problem coming up. She quickly rushed. She got the tracheostomy kit. She informed the doctors that the kit is ready. Now, the kit is a procedure used in this situation where they make a hole into the throat and they insert the tube into the throat, into the windpipe. So the doctor was aware of it, but they were still struggling to put the laryngeal mask, just like the pilot was still struggling to find out why the landing gear is not out. So now the oxygen level was already dropping. It has already reached 70. Elaine's heart had already declined to 50. And by just in a few seconds or so, Elaine started turning blue. When she started turning blue, it was a clear notice that the oxygen was not reaching her brain. So within few minutes, she was brain dead. They had to wheel her back to the ICU. Now, before that, the nurse had already reasoned that the doctors were more qualified than her. So she was worried why they didn't use it, but that was the issue. She couldn't tell the doctors at that point in time. So while she was taken to the ICU in the evening, Elaine passed away. The husband was called, and all the three doctors sat with him and explained to him. As we all know, such incidents happen. The doctors tell us, we tried our best, we couldn't do anything more. And that's what they told her. And then the story finished there. But they didn't mention that there was a possibility of using tracheostomy in these circumstances. So that there are two common factors in these both cases, if you understand. One is hierarchy and one is perspective of time. But because of the black box in the aviation industry, the United Airlines found the fault where it was. They knew that there was communication problem. The pilot should have listened to his colleague because one person is not right all the time. So they corrected immediately, and such incidents didn't happen in the airline industry from then on. But in case of the healthcare, Elaine's case, the fault was detected, but it was not declared. There was a failure of denial. So if there is a failure, if failure is a tragedy, the question is, in Elaine's case, then is not learning from failure a moral urgency? That's the question we have to ask. So let me give you some statistics to prove these two industries' records. IATA reported in 2013, even the statistics are old, but you will notice that things have been improving since then. So it's all the better. In 2013, 36 million commercial flights carried 3 billion passengers. There were only 210 fatalities in accidents. So for every one flight, there was zero point 0.4 accidents. That means one accident per 2.4 million flights. Against that, in the healthcare industry, in 1999, the American Institute of Medicine published an investigation report. Its name was To Err is Human, and it reported that between 44,000 and 98,000 Americans die each year as a result of preventable medical errors. And it is estimated that 1 million patients are injured by error. In United Kingdom, in 2005, the National Audit Report estimated up to 34,000 patients are killed per year due to human error. So overall, the patient incidence, fatal and non-fatal, in United Kingdom was almost 974,000. Now, these shortcomings are due to misdiagnosis, dispensing of wrong drugs, injury during surgery, operating wrong parts of the body sometimes, improper transfusion, allergy to drugs, and post-operative complications. So we observe there was no institutional shortcomings in aviation because black box phenomenon was there. So in aviation industry, there is a tenacity to investigate. Data are collected, they are analyzed immediately, mistakes and failures are discovered, correction and improvement happens as fast as it can happen. So mistakes, failures, flaws, errors, and incompetency is ripe in many corporations and organizations as well. These are just the two cases we are considering. So many organizations, institutions don't have adequate data, so that means they cannot take corrective actions. We live in a very complex world. We understand that failures and mistakes are unavoidable. So Matthew Syed, who is also a columnist in the Times of UK, and he has written a book, a very interesting book. The name is Black Box Thinking. And he says in his book that if you adopt what he is telling us in that book, then it will be a life-changing journey for corporations, organizations. Sorry, it will be a life-changing journey for corporations, organizations, institutions, communal institutions, other public and trusted institutions as well. He says that because of the black box thinking, his research has found four things in the organization which are lacking, where there is no black box thinking. Number one is lack of openness, lack of responsibility, poor data collection, and the fourth one is no adequate independent assessment of performance. So, what are the main areas of contention when you don't have black box phenomenon? This is according to Matthew Syed. So there are three important contentions according to him. Number one is failure are inevitable, he says. That happens with us every day and we endure it from time to time. He advises that we should redefine relationship of failures, how we respond, how we react, and how we deal with failures when things go wrong due to slip or lapse. He also says that change of basic perspective, that failure is profoundly negative, should be removed from our mindset. A lot of people think that when people fail, it is shameful, and they start being judgmental about it, which is really wrong. We should confront failure positively and destigmatize it, by the way. And the worst thing is that we should never edit our failures because otherwise the opportunity to learn will be lost. Contention number two, Matthew says, is mistakes. Mistakes are not to be stigmatized. We should not disgrace and show our disapproval when people make mistakes. Mistakes are part of life. They are essential for growth, but making the same mistakes over and over is terribly wrong. This is precisely what is happening in the aviation industry because of the black box. So that's why we need black box thinking in each and every organization and industry because that makes us learn and improve. And then Matthews points out that there is no one person on planet who doesn't need to improve. One can't improve upon perfection. Life is full of imperfection. And we should never reframe our mistakes. That destroys the precious learning opportunity. And this is the scariest part of all that we scarcely realize, and we are doing it all the time. For years, errors are considered as embarrassing and morally shocking, and this leads to stagnation. It doesn't lead to progress. And and he says that we are human beings. We are designed to make mistakes. All failures and mistakes are essential to our growth and progress. Contention number three, Matthew says, is blames. In the absence of black box phenomenon, humans quickly find scapegoats and destroying precious learning opportunity. And this happens in two cases mostly. When people are in high hierarchy, like the CEOs or the chairman or the presidents or the professionals, they tend to find excuses for their imperfections and blaming others because they are on the top. They are responsible for all the strategy. So they have most to lose if things go wrong. And one report pointed out that major failure in 50% of the corporations or companies is found that error denial increases as you go up the ladder. The second report from Harvard Business School, it says that it found that executives believed that only 2 to 5% of failures in organizations and institutions were truly blameworthy. But when they were asked how many actually mistakes were treated as blameworthy, it was recorded as 70 to 90%. So blame really undermines information vital for improvement. So we have to understand the psychology of these three contentions. Why these three contentions are happening? And the reason is behavior difference in these two critical industries that I've just described to you. In aviation industry, there is a growth mindset attitude. In healthcare industry, the mindset is fixed. So I will explain this in a while. But the reasons for contentions, we have to find out why the reasons for contentions, why people give reasons for failures, mistakes, and blames. You see, anybody who is in leadership roles in whichever organization or institutions we talk about, they have all received expensive education and training. So when their professionalism is threatened, they are bound to put defenses because their credibility is at stake. The second reason is that they are keen to protect their self-esteem because they don't want to lose people's confidence. They are also worried about name, fame, and fortune being lost. And not only that, there is a fear of litigation, there is a fear of reputation, fear of losing livelihood as well. Many professionals can lose their licenses. Many CEOs or chairmen of the company or presidents of the company can lose their jobs or they are fired. And the other worry, which we experience a lot in today's times, is the worry of social media, where the public posts or sends out misinformation, which is circulated to thousands of people, giving false accusations with no proof or anything. And this discredits the leaders, not only the leaders, discredits the institutions as well. So, to introduce the black box phenomenon, what perspective we should adopt? But before that, as I said, let me explain to you the two kinds of mindsets that really can affect the industry that you are in: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. When things are produced in the factory, be they machines, be they cars, or anything, they come with an instruction manual. That's right, I believe so. We all agree to that. But when God sends us to this earth, He sends us with three things, or any one of the three things, and that is talent, gift, and ability. So how to use them, we have to figure that out ourselves. So it is believed in many industries, including healthcare, there is fixed mindset. Means they believe that if they have the talent, then that is the best they have. They don't want to improve on it. They don't want to learn on it. They don't want to learn from mistakes. They think their talent is sufficient enough for them. While in the growth mindset, the talent, gift, and ability of the same person is not enough. So there is an impetus to learn more and take efforts to work hard, as against the fixed mindset where they think that ability is the fixed trait. So people with this growth mindset are not discouraged by failure. They don't actually see themselves as failing in those situations. They see themselves as learning. So the culture, so this culture is very, very prominent in aviation industry. So coming back to what perspectives to adopt for black box thinking, first and foremost is the cultural change. We have to change our relationship with failures and mistakes. It should be positive. It should be positive one. So you will stop avoiding mistakes and failures, because if you don't do that, there won't be any progress in life. We must transform the notion of failure. Failures opens the road to success. The second thing we have to bear in mind is the psychological change we have to bring in so that black box phenomenon comes into play. So how can we do it? It comes gradually. We have to adopt change and become a growth mindset person so that failures are taken positively. When failures and mistakes will be taken positively, you will realize that there will be incremental improvement. And when there is incremental improvement, there will be marginal gains. And when you get marginal gains, it will be a cumulative effect. Then there will be a sea of change we will experience. This is how the aviation industry has developed. Number three, we should be aware that there must be institutional learning through processes, procedures, and reporting to achieve high performance. Considering every failure and mistake is a guidance and a lesson and nothing else. And we have to bear in mind that most beautifully constructed system will not work if professionals do not share the information. Another number five thing we have to bear in mind for the perspective of changing into black box thinking, that there should be adequate data collection so that dissemination of information is made, and from the data we can take appropriate action. So in conclusion, we all want to succeed in life, whether we are entrepreneurs, sportsmen, professionals, or parents. And the most important determinant of success in any field, in any life, is an acknowledgement of failure. So failing to accept failures as learning is the single greatest obstacle to human progress. So coming back to my question in the beginning, now you may agree that human accomplishments is driven by learning processes, which comes from failures and mistakes. The climate has to be created so that we can tolerate mistakes, we can learn from mistakes, and we should not abuse people who make mistakes in life. Mistakes are openly admitted only when people will feel comfortable to do that. And if we want to achieve high performance in today's fast changing world, then we have to bear this in mind that mistakes and failures are part of life. We have to carry with us and we have to learn from it and we have to progress from it. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq to develop black box thinking. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.